Psycho came out in 1960. It was obviously directed by Alfred Hitchcock and stars Janet Leigh, Vera Miles, and Anthony Perkins, and it tells the story of Marion Crane, played by Janet Leigh, and after she embezzles $40,000, she goes on the run and ends up at the Bates Motel that is run by Norman Bates, who is under strict control by his mother. Psycho is obviously a classic, and I am going to go into spoilers, so if you haven't seen this movie, click off the video now. I insist, this is one of the only movies where I believe that no one should have the ending spoiled for them. I had the ending spoiled for me, I'll talk about that a bit later, but do not watch this review if you have not seen the movie, or if you don't know the twist, but just don't watch it if you haven't seen the movie, and go watch the movie because it's fantastic. So I've seen Psycho about 3 or 4 times now. I can remember at least 3 times, maybe 4 though, and I've loved it every time, but it was especially last viewing, where I watched it last night, that really made me realize why this is one of the best horror movies of all time. The first time I watched it, I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. Last year I watched it, I loved it again. I gave it 5 stars in Letterboxd. I really respected the movie, but I didn't enjoy watching it as much as other movies from that time. But last night I watched it and I was like, this is how to make a movie. And that is, it sounds so dumb, sounds so basic, but it's really true. Psycho is one of the greatest horror movies ever made. I watch this movie every October, and everyone's already praised this movie. Everyone's always said how fantastic everything is about it, and I will be repeating a ton of that, so if you've seen it, there's just a warning. But there's almost nothing to be said about this movie that hasn't already been said, but I'm just gonna say what I think about it, because that's how a review works. I've only seen 2 Hitchcock movies, that is Psycho and Vertigo. I reviewed Vertigo earlier this year for a classic review, and that's what this is, if you haven't already realized. And I don't think I said that before, even though I should have in my intro. Whoops. I love both those movies, but I doubt anything will ever pass Psycho for my favorite Hitchcock movie, although I do have to watch a bunch of them. There are so many scenes I could talk about. The shower scene, the taxidermy scene, the boy's best friend is his mother, and the ending, and they're all fantastic, but there's one scene in particular that I really almost never hear people talking about as one of the best scenes, and I still think those 3 are the 3 best scenes in the movie, but this one, it's almost as good as them. It's the scene where Norman is first being questioned by the detective, and he's kind of just, you know, being a little suspicious, and like his hands like tapping on the table, and he's just kind of getting pissed off. And I love the camera angles here. They're like shots from above where you can kind of tell he's starting to sweat, and then he starts getting more pissed off as it keeps going. He's trying to get them out of there, and then when he starts questioning him about, oh, who's the woman there? He's like, oh, that's just my mother, you know, no big deal, like you don't have to go up there. And it is fantastic. The suspense that's built in that scene by Alfred Hitchcock is amazing. Now, obviously, we have the shower scene with the where Marion gets killed halfway through the movie, which is very surprising. They're all fantastic. The ending, oh, it's so good in that taxidermy scene. The dialogue there is outstanding. Now I'm going to talk about the ending a little bit more because I feel I have to. If you review Psycho, you can't not talk about the ending in depth. So please, if you have not seen the movie, click off this video. I swear, I don't care who you are. If you haven't seen it, please click off, go watch the movie. It is fantastic, as I said. So I assume everyone already knows, but Norman Bates' mother is not alive, and it's actually Norman, and he has a split personality disorder, so he dresses up as her. We see that in the final scene where he puts on the wig, puts on some of her clothing, and he has a split personality disorder, and that's what really is making him kill. So say Norman meets a person and he starts feeling a little bit of attraction towards it, it's the mother side that comes out and kills them. And yeah, we have that scene at the end where the police guy, detective, whatever you want to call him, comes out and explains the movie. He basically explains everything you need to know about the twist. And at the time, I get why it's in the movie. And it's one of those things where you can overlook it to the point where it's not such a big problem with it. It's just one scene that you can overlook it and it doesn't get downgraded for it. And I mean, this movie came out 60 years ago. And there's only really one dated kill. There's the kill on the stairs where he stabs into here and then it changes and he like waits for a second and then he falls back and there's just like the blood there. It looks cool, but it's like there's just one thing where I'm gonna nitpick the shit out of this scene where he kind of looks like he's pausing, waiting to fall. So if it was edited like this, it would be more smooth, but that's just me nitpicking the hell out of this movie that came out 60 years ago. Okay, everyone is great here. Janet Leigh is great here as our lead for half the movie, but there are so many scenes where she really shows that uneasy and off feeling. Like in that taxidermy scene, you can kind of tell she's getting a little bit creeped out by why this guy is stuffing all these birds and stuff. It's weird. John Gavin is great here as Loomis, and that was the origin of the name, which obviously has been transferred to Halloween from '78 and then into Scream in '96. And I love Scream. I love Halloween, obviously, but I love Scream. I rewatched it 2 days ago or something. That movie is so good. Like, oh my God, there goes the dog. Vera Miles, I think I said that right, is also really solid here. The horror that's really on her face when she finally turns around Mother in the chair, sees it's the skull, and then the sound of her scream. It's awesome. Shut up, dog. But there's one performance I obviously did not mention, and it's one that I feel is easily the best in the movie and one of the best in any horror movie out there, and that is Anthony Perkins as Norman Bates. He is absolutely stunning here. His work is outstanding. I was never able to watch the film without knowing that obviously he is the killer, you know. But I feel like even watching it without knowing that, there's little details that he throws in where, as I said, like he's kind of like tapping there as he's getting a little nervous. It's awesome. But even knowing the twist, it doesn't take away from the movie. Now, there are some twists in some movies where once you figure it out, you go and rewatch it, you're like, oh, there's this. Okay, yeah, I get that now. Like, it's obvious. But this one, you still watch it and you love to watch the way he's hiding some of these things. And it's the little nuances in his character that make this an all-timer. Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho is a movie that everyone loves. Horror fans, non-horror fans. Everyone loves it, and there's a big reason why it's one of the most well-known horror movies ever. Because it features some sick kills, some great characters, and an outstanding performance by Anthony Perkins, Psycho is a movie I watch every year around October, and that will never stop. Once you see this movie, you'll understand why Hitchcock is the master of suspense. I'm gonna give Psycho an A+. Next month, I'll be doubling up on those classic reviews with Casablanca, which should have been in September, but I kind of just forgot, not gonna lie. And then also One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Those are two movies that I have never seen before, so I am super excited to talk about them. And I'll have a few more videos to do with spooky season. I mean, there's 6 days till Halloween. I'm very excited. I love this time of year. And then we have kind of that month break. And during that month break, I'm gonna focus more on music reviews and music ranking, stuff like that. And then it's Christmas time. Thank you all for watching. Of course, if you've seen Psycho, which I hope you have, tell me what you think in the comments down below. Does it fall into your top 3 horror movies like me? I'll see you guys next time. Over and out.